Okay, so this is the first video 1 of the Bunker Blender game engine set. So this is what you will see when you start Blender, when you fire up a new file. Your theme might be different than mine. I've got a gradient background or whatever else, but this is basically what you'll see when you start up Blender. So what we want to do first is left click the camera, get rid of that, we don't need it. Click the light and get rid of that, we don't need that either. And you notice I've got my screencast keys on, and to delete something you can either hit delete or X on the keyboard, so I'll probably be using X, which is easier. So we've got our default cube, and this is what we want to start with. We want to come up here to where it says Blender Render and change that to Blender Game, and some of our options change over here, and that means that we're working in the Blender Game engine. So what we want to do is we want to hit N to bring up the Properties panel. We want to click on our box, and we want to go into Edit mode, which is the Tab key. And we want to come down here to where it says Normals. We want to click on the last icon there, Face Normals. We want to click on the size, increase the size so that we can see them. There we are. And we're going to reverse those, which is Control Shift N, and you'll see they've disappeared. They've actually gone inside. So if we hit Control and Tab to change to face mode, or you can do that down here, vertex, edge, and face mode. So we need to be in face mode. And at the moment we've got all sides selected. By the way, I'm swinging this around with the middle mouse button. You can see that on this little icon down here. If I hit the middle mouse button, that's how I'm turntabling the view. So what we want to do first is we want to click 2 of these faces. So rather than just one at a time, we want to click one, hold down the Shift key, and click the other. Okay, so we've got 2 faces selected. Then hit X and delete faces. Alright, there we go. Now we don't need that normal display anymore, so we can get rid of that. So all that means is that what we're creating is interior faces, which our whole modular bunker set is made from. It's just these emptied out, hollowed out cubes. So the next thing we want to do is to go to edge mode. So hit Control and Tab and go to edge mode, or come down here and do it on the viewport bar there. And we want to select multiple faces. So again, hold Shift down and we'll select these. Middle mouse button to swing around to get the others. Hold Shift down and we've got them all selected there. I'll do that again. If I click one, hold Shift, click second one, third one, move around, fourth, fifth. So we've got all of those. Then we want to hold down Control and E and mark seam. Okay, and that will create a seam, a UV seam along all those edges. We don't need this panel anymore at the moment, so we can get rid of that by hitting N. There we go. And we'll come out of tab mode for the minute. And we need to create a material for this object. So we'll go over to, we'll actually name it first as well. So it's a cube at the moment. We want to rename this, and it's going to be dead end, because that's what we're modeling at the moment. And we'll go to the material display tab. We'll add a new material and we'll call this Enviro. Enter. So there, that's what we're creating, is environment material. We'll turn the diffuse all the way up to 1 and the specularity all the way down to 0. Okie doke. So we're going to add our texture sheet to this. So we can hit the next tab, which is the texture tab, and I've already added it, but I'll show you how to do it we get rid of it, there we go. So we want to go new. It's going to be an image or a movie, and this is where we open that image. You go there, and it's set to go to my textures folder, so you just navigate to wherever you're saving your textures, and it's text sheet JPEG is what we want. Okay, so there we go. It shows you a picture of it in there, very helpful. So that's the texture sheet that we're going to apply to this material, but we've got to UV unwrap this first. But first of all, we'll name the actual texture. So Enviro. There we go. And this is eventually going to be UV mapped. We'll do that in a second. So if we come up here and we hit the tab key to go to edit mode again, select all our faces, which is usually the A key is select all or nothing. So if we select A, hit A twice, we'll select everything, but we need to be in face mode. Okay, so I've just hit the face tab down there, or I could have gone Control Tab and select faces, and we want all of them. There we go, and we know we've got them all because it's all orange, and we know we're in face mode because you can see these little dots in the middle. So then we hit U on the keyboard and just hit unwrap, and that's all we need to do with that for the moment. Then if we've still got this open down here, we go from generated to UV, and then we hit our N menu again here, and we scroll down to, let's have a look at shading, change it to GLSL and texture solid. Okay, so it's still not showing anything at the moment. So what we need to do, get rid of that menu again. Now we need to go up to the corner here and open a new window. So I'll go up to this corner until your cursor changes to a cross on these little hatched lines, and drag that out to create a new window, and then let go. So we've created a new window, and this one is going to be our UV editor. So click in this corner where the cube is and change that to UV image editor. Okay. Okay, I just took a short break there to close the door and get settled again. So we've got our dead end here, and we've got our texture file. So we're going to set the UVs for it. So if we go into tab mode, into edit mode, select all our faces. This is the UV map that's been generated. So if we open our image, there we go, we can see those and we can see them superimposed on the actual mesh there. So what we need to do is to sort them out into their relevant pieces, and we've got three walls, we've got two walls, one door and a ground. So what we want to do is find out which is which on here. So if we select that face there, it's this one, and that's a wall. Now in the UV editor, if we hit A, it will select all of the vertices that are connected to the face we've got selected here. So it's selected all the vertices in that face, and what we want to do is we want to hit G to move this and get it roughly into position. And you can see that snapping is on there. I might not have enabled that before, so I'll show you where that is. It's just down here. There it's off and there it's on. We want it off at the minute because we're going to set the UV coordinates for this side. So if I hold shift down and middle mouse button, we can drag that to the middle, and then toggle with the mouse wheel forward, we can get it larger on screen so we can see what we can do, what we're doing. So what we need to do is we need to drag this piece more or less to the middle, and then we need to hit S to scale it. Okay, you can see it's scaling up there, and it'll remain square, okay, because we've scaled it along both axes, so it'll stay square. So we get it more or less where we want, which is there. And you'll notice that it's sideways. Okay, we want this to be the top edge, and the rust streak's going down towards the bottom, obviously. So that's not happening at the moment over here. And what we need to do is we need to rotate this. So we press R to rotate, and we get our rotate tool, and that's going the wrong way. We need to go the other way. We need to go this way, and then when we get close to where 90 degrees would be, we hold down Control and it'll snap. Okay, and we can snap it at 90, and you can see if once I've done that and let go of it, in this bar down here, if I rotate it again, just watch down here and you'll see some numbers. If we hit R again, you can see down there, hopefully if you've got HD, you can see it's going rotation -20, -10. So if we hold down Control, it'll go in 5-degree increments, and we can stop it where we want it, which is there. Okay, so I just clicked to select that. So that's one wall done. This back wall wants to be a door. Well, we're going to make it a door anyway, so we're going to hit G again to move that up to roughly where we want it. There we go. Hold down Shift and middle mouse button to get that central. Mouse wheel up to increase the size of that so that we can work on it. And S to scale. Okay, get it somewhere close. Reposition it a little bit down a bit. There we go. And S to scale again. Now, if you put your cursor in the middle of the face and then hit S, you'll get a really accentuated scale. Okay, so I'll right click to cancel that. If you have your cursor further out from the center of that face and you hit S, you'll get a more gradual scale. Yeah, can you see that? Plus, if you find that that's still too much and you want finer control, hold the Shift key down, and that will move it very small amounts. Okay, so that's without Shift, and that's with Shift. So you get it somewhere, you get it close to where you want it to be, then hold Shift down and fine tune that to get it where you want. There we go. Alright, so that's that. So we've got one wall and a door. So we want a wall on this side. And it looks like if we click that face, we're more or less in the right place. But again, none of these vertices are selected. So we hit A to select them all. G to move it roughly in the middle somewhere. There we go. Shift middle mouse to center that. Zoom in. S. Move out from the center of the face a little. Hit S. Scale up. And get it somewhere close. Then G to position it again. So there's more or less where we want it. And in fact, do you know what? I'd say that was where we want it more or less. So there we go, that's that face. Good. So that's that, and the ground, lastly, which again is more or less in the right place. So hit A to select the whole thing, G, move it central, Shift middle mouse and scroll wheel. Okay, S to scale it up to roughly where we need it. G to move it a little bit again. And once again, I would say that is more or less. I might scale it a little, so S and Shift. It's very finely scaled. There we go. So I'd say that's where we want that. So there we go. Come out of tab mode. So that's our dead end. And you can see if I move this over and make this a bit smaller, put it in the center again using Shift, middle mouse. We open the N menu. I've let's have a look. There we go. I don't have backface culling on, but we're going to need that. But it's kind of on by default. Backface culling, what that means is that when you're looking at the back of a face, it won't actually show it. Yeah, it'll just show it like that as transparent. And the floor as well, you can see it's transparent. But when we, there we go. So you can see what that backface culling is doing. So if we go to textured mode, although we haven't got any lights in the scene at the minute, but there we go. You can see the effect it's having anyway there. So that's our first piece, dead end. So we're going to create our next piece, which is a corner. So what I'm going to do is we're going to hit Shift D to duplicate that, right click to cancel the movement, and then hold the green arrow and tab it out and move it out. At the moment we haven't got snapping enabled, so that's bad. We want snapping. So I'm going to hit Control Z to undo that. We're going to enable snapping with this little tab down here, and there's a shortcut there, it says Shift Tab. I'm going to use that. There we go. So now when we move our duplicate, there we go, it'll move a precise amount according to the grid, and that's exactly what we want. So what we're going to do with this one is create a corner that doesn't have a door in it. So we're going to go to tab mode, we're going to select that face, and we're going to hit X, and it'll ask us what we want to delete, and we want to delete faces. So there we go. Then we've just got the corner section, and we want to change this back face to a wall rather than a door. And if we leave the snap on, we should be able to just hit on the UV editor, hit G and move this. There we go. Now the snap is on down to there. Okay, so that's very handy. So once we've got these UV set, we can just move them. And you'll notice if I hit A to come out of that the texture on these is identical, but they're running along, like those two drips are on this side and then they're on there. What we don't want is for there to be mirror images, because they look bad. You can spot them when you're in game, and I'll show you what I mean by that. We'll go over to the UV editor here, and you don't need to do this. This is just for me for demonstration. If I hit S X -1 and enter that, what it's done is it's flipped this side to side. So we've now got a mirror image, and you can see how that looks really bad in that corner. You can tell straight away that these two are the same and one's a mirror image of the other. So I'll hit Control Z to undo that. So what we want is these two being the same, if you like, the same image, rather than mirrors of each other. I hope you got that, because mirror images just look bad wherever you see them. You see them in games all the time and they look awful. So there's our corner piece. So we're going to name that as well. Here we go. See, it's called it dead end 1. If you make a duplicate of anything, it'll just add 001 to the end. So we don't want that. We want, I'll put caps lock off. We want corner. Corner. There we go. So there's our corner piece. We're So we're going to now make a corridor, and for this I'll come out of tab mode. For this we use the dead end piece, Shift D to duplicate, and you see at the moment it's I'm not hitting any mouse buttons and it's just moving around. We need to right click to cancel that, and that'll give us a more precise movement, and we'll hold the red arrow at this time, which is the X direction. You can see that directional cue down here, and we'll move it backwards. There we go. And all I'm going to do with this is, that's fine and that's fine. All we're going to do with this is go to tab mode, select the back face, and X faces, delete that back face, and then we've got a corridor section. Okay, and rename it over here corridor. Okay, what's next? Yes, we want a single wall, so use that same piece, Shift D to duplicate it, move it back on the grid, tab to go into edit mode, grab one of these walls, X faces to get rid of that. So there we go, there's our next piece, and you'll notice this orange dot, when you don't have anything selected, the last thing that you had selected, it just shows the origin of that object. So that's what that little orange dot is. Okay, so we've got those. What we need next is a floor piece and a ceiling piece. So we'll recreate that. Actually, I'll have to name this, won't I? So we'll call this wall. There we go, just name that. And then Shift D, right click, and move it back there. And tab for edit mode, grab that face, X, delete faces. So that's our floor. We'll call that floor, strangely enough. Right, next one. We need a ceiling. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the floor, Shift D to duplicate it, right click, drag it over there, and this time we're going to rotate it, because obviously it's facing the wrong way at the minute. So what we're going to do is, actually we'll just do it and we'll see what happens. Hit R, Y to rotate in Y, and you'll see we get the green line there to show us which is the Y direction. And then as we move it around, you can see it's jumping from one place to another in degree increments. So you can see my mouse will behave. You can see down here the display that shows where it's moving. I'll show that a bit better in a minute because that's rubbish. So we'll cancel that. On this bar here, you'll see the rotation increments. If we do it again, R, Y, there we go. Hopefully you can see those increments at the bottom. And there we go, 180, and click. And because we've got back face culling on, if we deselect that by hitting A, it'll disappear. But it's still there. Okay, there it is. So I'm going to undo that, because there's a quicker way to do that, and it is, we'll just do R, Y like before, and we actually type in 180, enter. Okay, so you can type in numerical values and Blender will just apply them, whether it's rotation or whatever. And of course the face on that is wrong, that's a floor face, so we need to select it. So I went into tab mode and select that face, and there it is on the floor. So we need to hit A to select all its vertices, hit G and move it up to where the ceiling is, and then just click to deselect. There we go. So we've got a ceiling piece and our floor pieces and all the segments to make our walls with. Okay, there we go. So if we go to, if I hit if I hit Z, that'll take us to wireframe mode. If I hit Z again, it'll take us to unshaded mode. we need to rename this. Currently it's floor 001, so that needs to be ceiling. There we go. So that's all our basic pieces. Although we do have to make a door next. There we go. So yeah, right. We're going to make a door this time. And we're going to use, let me think, which one should we use? Doesn't really matter. I think we'll use the wall section. And we'll shift duplicate it, bring it over here. Now this one is a little tricky because this one it does use a cube, but it's a little more involved than the others. So what we're going to do is tab mode, get the floor, X, faces, because we don't need that. So we've just got that wall section left. And what we're going to do is we're going to divide it up and create a door frame in the middle. Right, so there we go, we've got that. And we're in, if we use the number pad and go 1, 3, 7, you can alter between top view, front view, right view. And if you hit 5 on the number pad, it'll go into orthographic view, which can be very handy because we will be needing that. So let's have a look. Right, tab mode, and we go to edge mode, and we can split that across there. If we've selected those two edges, hold down or click W, hold down W and hit subdivide, and it'll give us a division across there, which we can move up and down. Let's turn the snap off. But you can see the UV map moves as well. We don't want that. So I'll Control Z to undo that. What we have to do is we have to get that to move. We have to get that edge to slide and preserve the UVs. So we have to hit Control E, go to edge slide, and you see it's still doing it. But that down here, there should be, there we go, edge slide. Correct UVs. Okay, so let's undo that. So we should be able to hit G twice, and there we go, we've hit G twice and we can move that. So I'll do that again. Once we've set that down here, we can move this edge by hitting G, G, so hit G twice, and we can slide that edge on there. I'll do this again so you can see it. We can slide that edge on there without affecting the UVs, and we'll put that about there. And what we'll do now is we'll do the same thing. We'll select the top, that one, and the bottom, and we'll go W, subdivide, okay, and then we'll hold that, get that one and that one, G, G, slide that one over there, okay, here, get top, middle, bottom, W, subdivide, grab those two, G and G, and move that across there. There we go. So we've now separated, we've made some more faces. We've cut this face into several so that we can punch out the middle there to make the doorway. So if I go Control Tab, face mode, we can grab that face in the middle, X, faces, and it's gone. Okay, so we've now got just that frame. Right, so we need two of those. We need to select all of that, move it closer to the pivot, and we need to Shift D, duplicate that. Okay, so we've now got 2 of those. And if we go to the top view, by hitting numpad 7, we can rotate this one. Okay, and hold down Control as we do it. There we go, to give us the other side of this door frame. Okie dokie. Then we need to join the 2 together. So we need to be in edge mode. We need to go pick that edge, and hit F to create a face in between them. Do the same up here. Hold that one and that one. F to create a face between them. Here, that one and that one. F to create a face between them. So these faces don't have any texture on them at the moment. They will have soon. What we need to do is go to face mode, select those, and get our texture sheet image back, and there we go, get an orthographic view. That's a perspective view, that's an orthographic view. We need to get the orthographic view that lines up those faces. There we go, and hit U and project from view. And what that's going to do is it projects the UVs based on whatever view we're looking at, so you can see how it's come up there. So we can hit, let's get that to a position where we can see what's going on in these faces. If we hit A and A again to select them all over here, G to move them down, and you can see how we can get it to match up over here by manipulating what we've got over there. So if we make that bigger, there we go. And what we can do is we can just select the top and go G, Y. Actually, I'll do a box select because we need them all. There we go. And then G, Y to move them down. And once again, if you find that movement is too coarse and you need to refine it, when you get close, you can hold the shift button down and do it in much finer increments, so we can get to there where we need to be. Okay, and that should be more or less okay on the other side as well. Yeah, it is. So we need to do the top one though. For the top one, we need to go to the top view, and I'll need to straighten these edges out as well. I'll do that in a second. So in the top view, we hit U, project from view, come over here, find our texture sheet again, and we notice they're not all selected, so hit A again to select them all, hit G, move them down here. I'll make them move them to a place that's pretty nondescript, say that one there, and S to scale that down a little. There we go. So let's have a look. There we go. So that's that. But as I saw earlier, these edges aren't quite straight or flat. So I'll sort that out. So let's see. If we go to vertex mode, hit A a couple of times to make sure I've got nothing selected. Then go B to box select, select those, and you see how we want them aligned along the x-axis. So we'll go S, X, 0, enter. Okay, and we didn't do them all, didn't get them all, so go to wireframe and box select them all. There we go, and S, X, 0, enter. That's better, got them all that time. A to deselect them, do the same with these ones. Okay, got them all selected, so S, X, 0, enter. Same at this side. A to deselect the ones we had over there. B to box select. S, X, 0, enter. Select those. S, X, 0, enter. And obviously, as you do this more and more, you'll get quicker at it. And you'll get quite proficient. So if I hit Z again, that'll put us back to where we need to be. Okay, so we've got a doorway. So now we need some doors. That's actually the toughest job, is to make that that piece. Need some doors. So let's make some doors. So we're going to start with the default cube again. So we're going to hit Shift A to bring up this menu. We're going to add a cube. We're going to drag it over here. Notice the snap is off, that's fine at the moment. There we go, drag it over there so that it's close to where the doorway is. Scale it down a little, and I'm going to make one door and then we'll fit it as per and just copy it. So scale in the Y direction needs to go down, and again, there we go. Well, how thick is it now? So it still needs to be thinner. S, Y, there we go. S, X, and we're getting close there. Let's have a look. Bring that down. I'd say we're nearly there. Maybe scale it up a little bit. There we go. Bearing in mind we're going to have two of these. So yeah, they're going to be more or less the same size. There we go. So that's one door. We need to move the pivot. The pivot at the moment is in the middle. That's no good. We need it on the corner. So how we're going to do that is we're going to go into tab mode, into edit mode. We're going to move, zoom in with the middle mouse, scroll wheel. We're going to move most of the door up to there so that we can create that hinge on the corner. Come out of edit mode and move it back. And what that means is that that door will now pivot on that. There we go. If I go R, Z, now we've got to rotate around that pivot, which is exactly what we want. It's not quite deep enough yet, the door. Needs to be scaled in Z. There we go, that's better. We need two of these. So I won't do that yet. I'll do the texture on it first and then we'll duplicate it. So we're going to need the door texture up here. Yeah, we don't need the top and bottom, so we're going to texture it really simply. Go to tab, into edit mode, and faces. Select the front face and the back face. There we go, go to orthographic, and U, project from view, and there we go, we get a door. G to move that up here, and that's not bad actually. But we do need to alter it a bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move it up into that top left corner. Then I'm going to select these along this edge. I'm going to hit G, X, which will move them. G is moved, so it'll move them in X direction that much. A to deselect them. B to box select the bottom ones. G, Y to move those down. There we go. Okay. I'm happy with that, and that displays well front and back, but you know, we still get this one isn't right. So, oh, and also the one on the back. So what we need to do is we need to see those, both of those. So I'm just move it there for a minute so we can see it. So tab mode. What I did there was, instead of hitting tab mode, I hit Control tab, which goes to weight paint mode, which is not what we want. So tab, select that face, shift select that one, and go to our orthographic. There we are. And U, project from view, open the texture sheet, and G to move it roughly where we want it, S to scale down, there we go, G to move it just up a touch, and then A so we can have a look at it. That's alright. And as I said, we don't need to worry that much about the top and bottom, but we might as well do them. So select the top, select the bottom, go into top view, U, project from view, come over here, open our texture sheet, and G to move it over, S to scale it. There we are. Okay, that's our door textured. We do need another door, and we'll do that right now. So we'll come out of texture mode, come out of edit mode, go to orthographic by hitting numpad 1, duplicate this door, and to keep the hinge in the same place, what we're going to do is we're going to just move it like that, move it over, rotate it, and then hold down Control so that it'll snap there to there. Move it across to where it needs to be, which is there. And you can, if your doors are overlapping each other or not quite meeting in the middle, then if you want to adjust that, it's easy enough just to adjust the size of the door, which we might do a little later on. But for now, what I need to do is I need to get the front and back of this door and move it over so that it's actually that one. There we go. And I might, because we've turned it around, we're actually looking at it upside down, so I might scale these in -1 so that that green bar is at this side of the door, so it matches the other door better. So with our cursor in this UV area, we'll hit SX -1, enter. It's kind of worked, but it's still upside down, so we need to go SY -1, enter. There we go, that's better. We got there in the end. But our door pivots are both in the right spot. So when we move this back into the frame, there we go. We've got the door and we've got the frame. So next thing, that's actually the hardest bit done, getting all of those ready. Next bit is, well, let's name those while we've got them. That is door frame, and which side are the hinges on? This side, so that's door R, and that is door L. Did that one name properly? Yes, it did. So door frame, I'm just looking over here for the names: door frame, door R, door L. Okay, good, we've got those. So next we're going to do a light source. And we're going to place that, well, we'll place it in a minute, we'll create it first. So A to select nothing, Shift A to create a mesh, create a cylinder, and first time you create a cylinder you can adjust its properties over here. Once you click off the cylinder, that's it, settled, you can't change it again. So we'll keep it at these values for now, and we'll just click off it or hit A to deselect it. So you'll see it's on the grid, so we want to keep it on the grid, so we'll hit the magnet so that it scales and so that it moves along the grid, and we'll scale it down to about there, maybe even a bit smaller. No, that's okay. And we'll move it up. Now I want to move it up a little bit further than that, because we want a little bit to be poking out so that it looks like a cylindrical light fitting, so about that much. And that is going to be light, we can call it light. We can create a material for that, so create a new material, call it light, and I've got some colour for this, so it's going to be diffuse only, no specular, and we're going to change the colour, so we're going to click in here and we're going to go to hex, which is the easiest way to rename a colour, and we're going to go EVE577, which is just the colour that I decided that I wanted it. So you can see it's kind of a sickly yellow. And if at any time you want to refocus the view on what you've got selected, for instance it's gone off screen there, if you hit the full stop key on the number pad, that will refocus your view on whatever you've got selected. And I'm scrolling in and out with the mouse wheel there, and then pushing the mouse wheel, clicking the mouse wheel and rotating around. So that's how you can recenter your view on something like that. So that's our light, or what's going to be our the actual physical shape of our light. But that doesn't actually show any, it's not going to actually give out any light. So we'll deselect it. We're actually going to create a lamp. So Shift A, come down to lamp and create a point lamp, and we want to move that up so that it's below the light fitting. About there is good. And if we move over to the lamp panel, you can see it's a point lamp. We've got some settings for that as well. The colour is E4D7C1. E4D7C1. And the energy is 3. Fall off is inverse square, so that's correct. Distance is 1. And it's not a sphere light, and it doesn't affect specular, it only affects diffuse. Okay, so there we go. If we now go to textured mode, it now works because I've actually got a light in there, and you can see how that looks. That looks pretty good. We've got, just to remind you, we're in GLSL mode, and we've got back face culling on. If I turn that off, you can see that all our faces are shown. Yeah. If I turn that back on, it just clips the back faces so that we don't see them when we're moving around, which can be handy. Although when we're looking at this now, you might say, where's the ceiling? I've lost my ceiling piece, where's it gone? Hit back face culling, and there it is, it's come back again. Okay, so this is the end of the first video. So if there's anything that you're unsure about, please leave it in the comments. If there's anything you want me to go over again, then we can do that in future. But Of course, you've got the luxury that you can replay this video as many times as you like to get a handle on what's happening. So let's move that over. Let's hit F. Let's hit 5 on the number pad, which goes to perspective mode. And what we can do now is we can put the snap back on. We can start to put these assets together, and we'll do that in video 2. Okay, bye for now.